Hi, everyone, and a very warm welcome to this first roundtable from the Customer Experience and Marketing SIG. Saurabh Agarwal and I will be talking to a remarkable panel of industry leaders today, and the discussions will focus on new possibilities in customer experience and marketing with AI. Before we jump into the panel discussion, let me quickly summarize the charter of this SIG, and then that'll give you the context for some of the discussions we're going to have going forward. Three things really. How can marketing and CX practitioners use analytics and AI to solve challenges that unlock growth? How can analytics and AI practitioners and experts stay close to the business and customer context to ensure that they design solutions for short and long-term business impact? And all of this set against real frameworks that cover the entire marketing lifecycle, along with a complex mix of channel selection from predictive as well as a measurement perspective. Right? With that, we jump right in, and Saurabh is going to field our very first question.
Great. Thank you very much, Ganga. I'm very honored to be part of this esteemed panel. So we will break this discussion into three sets. We will start with views from the participants onto the what they are doing in the AI workspace. So I'll start with Sandeep Sudarshan. Sandeep, if you could quickly introduce yourself and share an example of a work in action or which has completed in the area of CX and marketing where you have seen great impact.
Hey, thanks, Saurabh. This is Sandeep Sudarshan. I'm the Chief Technology Officer for the Telco BU market unit in the UK. I'm based out of Oxford in the UK. Well, if you look at the telecom sector, right, I mean, it's going through a massive digital transformation today. They are redefining the user journeys. If you look at the convergence of services that are happening, they are under threat from the over-the-top vendors and the content players, right? So CX, customer experience, plays a major role in this, right, for all of them. And as they go through a omni digital channel experience journey, I think AI and analytics and data plays a major role. Now let me step back. If you look at the invasion of 5G that's happening, telcos today are sitting on huge data sets of structured, unstructured, real-time data, right? And the CMOs are trying to see how they can harness evolving technologies like AI, ML, building models to have to prevent one customer churn, because customer churn, any subscriber loss is a big loss to a telco. How can they build efficient models by using network data, device data, billing data, data from all sides, right? And create a data fabric of sorts, right? That's very important to have the right set of data, right? To perform the and build those models around it. The second thing that's happening around in this sector is, I think Ganga mentioned about it, is this whole omni digital channel experience, right? You can become a subscriber by going into a retail store or through online. You can actually talk to a chatbot today to directly become a subscriber, right? You can use mobile app to see your billing information. You can go to your e-commerce app to see what products and bundles that you have, which could be a SIM card with a data plan, a broadband, a content, Netflix partnerships, many more things like that, right? So how does that omni-channel experience work? I think CX and marketing plays a major role here. And when I say CX, it's not just about the experience on the front end, but it's actually also about the front end back end integration. And therefore, the architecture plays a major role, right? How do you create your data models around it? How do you standardize your data? How do you, let me give you an example, right? For example, imagine yourself that you are actually going through a cart and trying to buy a product, let's say on a telco's e-commerce site, and then you move on to your mobile app. Will you be able to see the same cart where you left, right? So that's the omni-channel digital experience that I'm talking about. Unbroken customer journeys, providing the best-in-class CX, right? And that's all possible today if you harness the technology, if you build the right IT architectures, right, build the right data models, more importantly, right, and and make a leaner, meaner kind of an architecture for your CX experience, right? So I think those are the key points, elements that I want to start this discussion with. Thank you.
Great, Sandeep. So what I hear is omni-channel is the buzzword, but it is real in action, especially in telecom, as it's a physical product, plus it has a digital experience in telecom, which is making the key difference. So with this, we'll move to Dr. Tuhin to share his experience and shed light from his experience in the area of CX and marketing. Please unmute yourself, Doctor.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Thanks a lot, Saurabh. I'm Dr. Tuhin Chattopadhyay, Professor of AI and Analytics at Jacksam, Bengaluru, as well as I drive my own consultancy in the space of AI analytics. Now, let me start echoing what Mr. Sandeep was saying, because nowadays, with the advent of AI, and especially the application of marketing, architecture plays a major role and how it happens. Gone are those days when we used to get a project and then 3 months, 6 months we need to deliver a kind of marketing project. I shall take one simple example, say marketing budget optimization, because that's something very critical, how we can allocate the budget across the different promotional channels, right? Now, we used to apply, say, integer programming or even the genetic algorithm and colony optimization, swarm optimization at a point of time. But then also how it used to happen, the data were given to us and then the algorithms used to be applied and then we used to give the results to the client depending on the performance of the different promotional channels. But with the advent of AI, now it's kind of real-time marketing budget optimization. And there lies a very critical part of the architecture. We develop a kind of data pipeline, data models, an integrated architecture where the real-time data of the advertising expenditure as well as the sales from every avenues continuously flows in the platform and the real-time monetary optimization of the monetary budget takes place. So that's something a kind of huge or giant leap, I would say, from the traditional way of doing the budget optimization.
Great. So real-time budget optimization is the key thing which I hear, and especially with more money going into Google, Facebook ads, where people can bid and take decisions and do pilots and scale up. With this, I would like to move to
One minute.
yeah,
Sort of 1 minute. What I want to say is that not only the real-time budget optimization, is the platform development. That's the kind of evolution from a project-based approach to a platform development where the data will come in, and then the any of the models can take place. Yeah.
yeah, perfect. So with this, I would like to move to Vinamra, who's and shared his experience, especially as he works in the media space, and that's also a very evolving thing and involves a lot of marketing budget consumption, and they use us to spend more money on their thing, both as a consumer but as a marketer as well.
Sure. Thanks, Saurabh. My name is Dhanamra. I'm leading customer experience analytics at Z. Currently in this function, previously I was working with American Express in different capabilities and functions. So I'm going to touch base not on marketing analytics per se, but experience analytics, and I want to touch base on what Sudarshan talked about. He talked about the front end and the back end and how they should be in sync from a user journey and cross-platform journey perspective. What I'm going to address is that the optimization of the platform through AI is also a very solid use case. Now you get two kinds of data. You get server side data and you get client side data. Right, and you can use both for optimization. A lot of companies are using server side data and to best use, and there are solutions already available on the fly, right, to optimize those. But then there is a factor of client side data. Client side data meaning the device attributes, the user journey attributes, uh, the action the user had taken in the past, and what kind of network attributes are there when he or she is browsing the platform or consuming the content, right? All that have a material impact on the future experience. So while I can take example from how we are using this data and using modeling use cases at Z. That said, we also use such outcomes at MX in the past, right? From in terms of like just predicting who will go deeper in your app, right? From that modeling perspective. And so how this will help then, right? So the tech is a stakeholder here. There are already tech call optimizations, but if you build an AI solutions, you can do three things with it. You can prefetch what you know, you can defer what you can delay, right, in terms of API calls and optimize that call, right? And you can also cache, right? So if you know something, so for example, I have a differentiated experience for my Z5 customers in India and global, right? From the onboarding journeys are different. And, yeah, think of a case a customer is traveling, right? So customer traveling from India to, let's say, US, right? And there is a different kind of a journey, right? When you go to US as a market, right? So, but he or she is an India customer, right? So you cache that information upfront to optimize that experience, right? As they move and change geographies, right? Likewise, in the example of Amex, right? People who are going deeper into membership reward is not native to the app, let's say, and the experience is outside of the app. Do we know how many people have gone to redemption? How many so behavioral attributes predicting the future behavior, and then the session level attributes on time spent on the platform and triggers you've sent to defer that call. Otherwise, you start calling all the APIs upfront, and it will have a material impact on load times. So these are a consequence of client-side data. I wanted to touch base on that as well.
Great. So Vinamra, what I hear is definitely personalization is a key part in the journey, not only in the pre-order but post-order and how we are doing, and that's not only applicable in BFSI but also in your new role at Z. So that's great. With this, I would like to invite Aditya to share his thoughts in this space of CX and marketing AI applications.
Sure. I'm president at Corridor Platforms. I'll take an example. I don't see Ganga on the line here, but or I don't see her video. But let's say, Saurabh, you represent a tier 1 bank and Ganga represents a tier 2 bank. Okay. And we are in a recessionary environment to some degree and extent. When we are making digital offers, let's say for growth or customer management, it could be a cross sell or a new to bank customer. What is important is that the risk reward trade-off has become very critical, especially when you're acquiring in a recessionary environment. So let me illustrate that with an example, and the analytics will come through with that example. So sort of, you represent a tier 1 bank, you do a risk reward trade-off. So you do, let's say, a estimated realized yield on my particular offer that I'm making. So you'll take into account prepayment, you'll take into account default and a couple other parameters regarding my credit attribute, my location date, et cetera, and you say, I expect to get, let's say, 7.5% yield on an installment loan that I'm giving you. And then you price the loan to the yield, right? So if I'm highly risky, your pricing is going to be higher. If I'm less risky, your pricing is going to be lower. On the other hand, Ganga, who represents a mid-tier bank, has more blunt hammer rules. She doesn't use risk-reward trade-off explicitly. So let's say, Saurabh, you price the loan at 11.5% and Ganga prices at 10%. Guess what happens? I take the 10% loan. As a customer, I'm greedy. I'm going to go to the one that is offered at a lower rate. What happens is I have now become an adverse select on Ganga's portfolio. Saurabh, as a tier 1 bank, was smarter. You priced me for risk because it is important, and you did not onboard me as a customer, but Ganga did. And within 3 months, I'm starting to now go delinquent on an account, and sort of smiling because he stepped away from a burning stone, and Ganga now has to now figure out how to recover money for collect on my outstanding debt. So bottom line, real-time yield optimization as an optimization problem at the point of decisioning. Remember, we're doing this digitally. So I, as a customer, Aditya, had 5 browser tabs open, right? So I had a mid-tier, I had a sophisticated tier 1, and a few other specialty fintech lenders. And I took the best deal that I got. And I wasn't concerned about, being busting out or being delinquent or being an adverse select. It's the responsibility of the institution to do that. And I think the same concept around sophisticated optimization at the point of real-time decisioning applies to insurance and other similarly regulated verticals too. So that's an example, and we've been working with multiple banks, and we kind of do this whole framework for calculating real-time yield optimization using a capability called framework on our platform quite a bit. I won't get into that today, but that's an example. Thanks.
Great, Aditya. So I think so. Unless somebody is using an incognito mode, it will be difficult for such people to be caught. But very nice example. Real-time decision making, especially when everything is at a click of a button, is a key. And as we go more digital decision systems in a product approach with the best of the AI engine, will be really helpful. And what Vinamra also shared is there is a lot of browser behavior or customer behavior journey data is coming in. So everything put together is an opportunity and a challenge. So yeah, so with this, I would like to invite Satyamoy to share his thoughts and experience on the subject.
Yeah, thanks, Saurabh. Thank you, everybody. Great to be here. I'm currently in the process of launching a company and in a stealth mode. Have a couple of decades of experience in the field of applied data analytics. Been with Citibank, GE, and last 7-8 years was part of the growth of a startup called Analytica Data Lab. So this topic is pretty intriguing, and as I'm hearing, it's so diverse at the same time. It needs to be at the so atomic level, right? Personalization, hyper personalization, the interactivity between the platform, so that your customer is kind of having a unique experience across all the platforms. Now, several examples come to mind as I look back. One of the particular ones that I'd like to pick, which was done a few years back, but still pretty relevant, which is an example of personalization going to hyper personalization at scale, right? So this is building of a personal finance management B2C portal, which was done at a national level at US, and was done by extrapolating data from a large bank, which represented about 9% of the entire payment that the entire US adult population makes, right? Now, the intent of the platform was to give an experience, a real good experience to an individual customer who comes and extracts benefit out of the platform by becoming wiser in their personal financial decision by learning from peer, right? So it's like a P2P insight extraction platform, which can through which a value can be extracted so that you are making decisions which are beneficial for you, right? So it was very important to give that experience. So for example, sort of you as an individual editor, and if you do not get this feel of resonance from the platform that okay, it's actually the insight is tailor made for me, you will have you will go away, right? You'll have a withdrawal symptom, right? So what exactly was done, and I'll not take too much time, but it's important to kind of understand how the methodology was adopted to give that experience at scale. The credit card data of 9%, which represented over 9% of the entire payment that goes to the US population, was micro-segmented at a geo-demographic level, and also at a spend behavior level, and also at a spend category level. So there are about 2 million plus micro segments based on which was extrapolated, or the scaling factors were applied to match at the US spend level. The Bureau of Labor Statistics, the economic data, the census data was utilized to make those extrapolation done, so that it is representative of the sample. And a predictive analytics was applied using machine learning algorithms to also make the insight predictive for the user. So when it came to life, it kind of not only gave insight to the user about how they become responsible for their financial decisions by learning from their peers. So for example, if I belong to the same geography at a zip code level, right? If I belong to the same age category and my interests are also similar, and if my peer belonging to the same micro segment is saving X% on grocery every month, or spending or saving Y% on travel every month, at the same time fulfilling their hobby of doing something else, then there is an insight that is valuable for me, and I start to manage it at that level. So an example of customer experience at an individual B2C level that I wanted to share.
Great. So basically, I think so. What you have been talking about is there is a lot of personalization and things happening with using both online, offline data across with strong algorithms. Uh, so yeah. So with this, I would like to request Anirban to share some bit of his thoughts on the subject with his experience in consulting.
Sure. Thank you, Saurav. Anirban Bhattacharya, first time on this forum. Very glad to meet all of you. Vice President and Head of Data and Analytics in Tech Mahindra across Europe, UK and Ireland, Middle East and Africa. I also happen to be India's first analytics leader with a global customer experience accreditation. That's been an area of passion of mine. So keenly, hearing all of you out, all the leaders out here. So I'll possibly, draw all our attention on a couple of paradigms which we are seeing. And the paradigms have shifted, I would say, over the last 5-6 years quite significantly. The first paradigm is the move over from selling products to selling solutions to now selling experiences. That's what top brands sell, and that's what top brands focus on. That's one paradigm. The other paradigm, I think two of my co-panelists alluded to it in quite a bit of details, is on what's happening on the inner side. What are the enterprises doing? Selling experiences is essentially on the customer side. How are the enterprises getting aligned? So platformizing the technology, productizing the solution, and consumerizing the front end. This trend is something which is very, very radical and very prominent across all enterprises, all service providers, whatever the vertical they may belong to. By and large, this is the trend. That has led to positioning the customer at a certain level, which was possibly unheard of, unthinkable, even a few years back. I'll cite two examples, and these examples are a testimony to the fact on how it is breaking the barriers, pushing the envelopes far beyond data analytics insights into the augmented reality, virtual reality, and applications of these. So I have a penchant for watches. I happened to spend some amount of money way back in 2005 to buy a Rolex when I was based out of Brighton, long time back. Of course, it didn't cost me an arm and a leg. I bought it on Boxing Day, 2005. I still remember, 26 December. Now, obviously, this penchant somewhat leads me to asking, people who fancy Rolexes, what is the latest brand and things like these. Very recently, one of my senior bosses in Western Europe, when I was there a few months back, it was very clear that he didn't have the time to go to the shop, but still he would want to see how the Rolex looked upon him. How did it look when he sported a Rolex on his wrist? So this is one experience which Rolex has offered, and leveraging AR, VR, you're able to see how it looks on your, how when you sport a Rolex, how do you look? How smart, how evenly placed you look, sporting that Rolex. It's a very high segment piece of watch, really. So this is essentially a result of an insights which Rolex has gathered, which somewhat tell them that many high-profile customers, top segment customers who are not able to go to their stores, at the same time, they would like to have the luxury or like to have that additional experience of seeing how the watches fit on their wrists and not buy it online. So phygital concept coming into the picture. So that's about Rolex. The second example of a top brand Indian car, I can't take the name. Again, a similar situation where it sometimes proves difficult for a buyer, a top class buyer, top segment buyer, getting into the car, checking each and every segment, every tidbits, every nuance of the modern day connected car. So why not give them a glass to wear? Why not put them into an AR VR experience? Why not give them a digital menu that offers them all the aspects, all the facets, all the various features of the car, standing right there at the comfort of wherever the nearest outlet of that car, the digital outlet of that the car. They are able to see each and every feature. They are able to assess whether that's the best car for them. Now, all these are results of the insights and deep, I would say, deep analytics that are captured at the back of customer segment study, at the back of doing exercises around hyper personalization, etc. And the next step is applied on such customer segments. Why not give them that augmented reality experience? Why not give them that virtual reality experience and take them to the next level? Because it is experience that seem to be selling more than anything else. So this is what I would like to leave with the forum, and back to you, Saurav.
Thanks, Anirban. You mentioned Brighton. It reminded me I had the opportunity to visit Brighton twice, and watches are giving a tough time. My mother had a birthday recently, and my wife gave her a sari, and she said, "I don't want sari, give me a smartwatch." So things are changing pretty rapidly. But
Right,
yeah,
right.
when talking about physical goods, let's talk to Rahul to share his views from a customer experience working in Freshworks on what he sees in this area.
Sure. Thanks, Saurabh. Hi, everyone. I'm Rahul, and I lead the product analytics initiatives at Freshworks. I think we have spoken a lot about applications in consumer side, the B2C side. Uh, on similar themes, I would want to switch gears slightly and talk about applications of AI in the field of CX and marketing in the SaaS space. So SaaS space poses a unique challenge as well as an opportunity where the solutions need to drive value for not just for the customers of the product but the customers of the customers of the product, and this becomes a twin challenge because sometimes the objectives are aligned and sometimes they are not aligned. So the core concept becomes how do you think of solutions that both your customers and customers of customers can drive value out of. So with this concept, right, just taking some of the examples and understanding where the SaaS space is going in the space of AI is, uh, let's take uh, chat as an example. So I think all of us are used to purchasing on e-commerce websites or D2C websites. And in most of these websites, you would see a chat option where a customer can pose a question, and sometimes an agent would respond, sometimes an automated response will come in. So that's what a chat product would do. Now, in this space, one of the key elements to derive value for both customers and customers of customers is to save time. Everybody is looking for a faster resolution. And this is one area where a lot of advancements or a lot of investments are happening, where uh, new applications of AI are being thought through that can save time for both these set of users. On the marketing side, if we talk about solutions that offer CRM, so CRM products usually have enriched data about customers. Now, how AI can drive value in this space is use this tons of data that is already available and drive automated actionable insights that in turn provide value for different sales and marketing initiatives, and make it super hyper and highly personalized for the customer engagements, be it marketing or sales initiatives. So these are the two spaces where I see advancements happening using AI.
Great. And Rahul, what I see is when we use advanced platforms like your company's Freshwork, enabling from a product perspective, these insights and chat facilities also helps do a very strong push. Building out of box analytics and then integrating is a big challenge. So AI enabled platforms or platforms with AI at the core is a key in this field. Uh, with this, we'll move to Tarun, who's working with Tiger and shared from a BFSI perspective how he sees the evolution.
Hey, thanks everyone. Right, so it was great, connecting with the panel and listening all the views, right? So I'll specifically, right. I think we've covered broadly, right, what are the tenets of customer AI in customer experience and marketing, right? So I'll not delve on that, right. Broadly, I'll touch upon insurance, right, as an industry, right. So typically, insurance has traditionally been not at the forefront of AI, right. They've been the laggards, right, due to a lot of legacy data platforms, right. But what we have seen is that insurers have started picking up. They've realized the competitive nature of the market right now and started leveraging a lot of data-led transformation initiatives, right. So talking specifically, right, in a model like typically in PNC life insurance, right, it's a very low touch model. So it's very, very important for insurers to leverage every data point that is generated with every customer touch point, be it be a customer call or a visit to a website, right, or a response to an email, right. It's very, very important, and this is where this lays the foundation for insurers to be able to effectively drive AI initiatives in customer experience and marketing, because having a good data fabric, a good 360-degree data foundation is at the core of any AI-led initiative, right? So I'll give an example to this group. Is one of the projects we did for a large Fortune 100 PNC insurer, right? The problem statement was this, right? They were receiving tens and millions of calls, right? Annually, and less than 1% of them will go, for a manual, sort of a QC review. So it was very, very difficult for a, behemoth size insurer to even know what customers are experiencing, right? They had practically no clue on their customer service operations, right? And they knew there were problems, right? So I think, so the way, I think the kind of solutions that we sort of brought in were a slew of use cases which can be leveraged basis your customer call interaction data, right? Your speech text translated data, and things like, right, detecting customer intent real time on the call, uh, detecting customer sentiment throughout the call conversation, and then nudging the agent in real time to do several interventions, right? We also realized, even the customer journeys were not optimized for this insurer, right? Agents were transferring calls haphazardly, the calls that could have been, resolved by a particular agent, specializing in a particular domain like a claims or a, sort of, service, domain, were getting transferred to a higher value agent, or higher trained agent. So all this was solved using, AI, using large language models, try to predict uh, what is the right intent, uh, what is the right transfer, when the call should be transferred or not. The other element of, which we typically miss out, right, is the whole KYC compliance authentication element in customer experience, right? Now, typically we have seen, right, if you under authenticate a customer while onboarding, there is a risk that you carry. You can't do that, right? And there are regulatory norms, especially in the US market. But if you over authenticate, that leads to, having higher call times, customer waiting for a long time, and that completely tosses off, the customer experience. So what we realize, right, working over a 2-year journey with that, insurer, is that you do not need always, the entire 360-degree data to make, transformational changes in customer experience. You can take a domain, particular, identify the use cases, right, and then work with the, customer to, embed and enable interventions on top of it. So I thought I'll share it with you. Back to you, Saurabh.
Great, Tarun. I know these are such deep topics that we will definitely have one session each to understand the depth. This is just the advertisement for all. So as we complete the first section, I would request Ganga to pose the next one, but this will be a rapid fire one.
Yeah. So what we'll do is, given paucity of time and knowing that as marketers we are nimble and agile, we're changing the format. So it's a rapid round robin. Each of you will speak for 60 to 90 minutes. Pick the next person that you want to
Seconds.
answer the question.
Seconds.
Seconds, sorry.
Yeah.
60
So
to
this is
90
a real
seconds.
format question.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you pick the next person that you think should answer that question, right? So treasure trove of insights here. And like Saurabh said, I hope the community reaches out to each one of you to get more detail on everything that you've shared. What we want to know now is one exciting new initiative that you're working on, and how do you stay real while doing that and stay away from all the hype surrounding you? I'm going to start with Aditya.
All right, 90 seconds. So building on my previous example, interactive offer management is becoming very critical right now. High level, we're moving from optimizing approval rates to optimizing acceptance rates. So now multiple offers, the lender in this example that is able to offer the best digital user experience, the most flexibility in the offer structure, the term structures, and be able to close fast is going to be the winner, right? So just having 100% approval rate, but only 20% acceptance rate implies that you only get 20% of the loans on your books. So interactive offer management is one area that we're working quite deeply in and thinking about that very strategically and very digitally in terms of what you do in ad placements, et cetera, et cetera. Tuhin, you're next.
Oh, thank you so much. So the most important thing that we are doing, we are currently amalgamating the AI with robotic process automation while doing the customer journey orchestration. So customer journey mapping is the first thing, but then how to channelize the customers, of course, through digital marketing I'm talking about, that which particular path the customer will take, at what point of time, what will trigger, and what should be the next step. Everything we orchestrate and where we amalgamate. It's a kind of cognitive automation, we can say. Yeah. Next, Anirban.
Thank you, Tuhin. I think an important thing which is of a lot of interest to me is composable enterprise with an integrated data integration and customer experience paradigm put together. Essentially, the whole objective of a composable enterprise where you are trying to make everything into microservices, trying to drive the individual pieces in building blocks, and at the same time you're having a unified data paradigm and integrated loosely coupled architecture and focus on customer experience for those individual building blocks. That's something will speed up things significantly and will truly, keep the agile flavor all through across the enterprise and drive a data-driven, intelligent enterprise. Vinamra.
Thank you, Anirban, for passing the baton to me. Hi, Ganga. Hi, the panelists. So so I would like to talk about causal inference, right? So in the field of consumer analytics, we are plagued with a lot of consumer KPIs, which can change course, etc. And they may be impacted by a number of internal factors, external factors. And we've all gone through that type of traffic, consumer profile, mix changes, external factors in our case, like the external content events. So all of it is a factor. Causal inference is an area of work in which we can do more robust RCA, right? For any consumer KPIs that break, and we can drive attributable coefficient to those factors, right? In terms of an equation baked in causality, of course, right? On top of it, the causal inference is also a panacea for continuous A/B experimentation, right? So you bring a change, you test it, but how many changes you test in a continuous experimentation, it's also an effort and a task, right? For the charters as they proceed through the product enhancements. So I'm extending beyond 90 seconds, but there is another area around causal inference to support ongoing A/B experimentation or doing A/B experimentation at a scale for low-hanging fruits, essentially. To pass
So
the
next,
baton, I'm just thinking who is left. My apologies. I can pass to Sudarshan. Hi, Sudarshan.
Hey, thanks. I'm probably not the last one, so I don't need to do a Usain Bolt. I think Satyam is still left. Okay. So I think one of the key, I think Anirban also mentioned, the experience is what sells. So keep the customer in mind in front of you. Create that whole non-disruptive customer journeys across different channels, marketing channels that the marketeers will come and talk about, right? See if you can create that seamless experience for your customers. And customer experience is not just about the front end or designing the best of the experience, the UX. It's all about actually bringing it down to your network, your IT, building the right data architecture, data models, and ensuring that how can he get what he wants, right? So I think you have to really look at the architecture from the CX standpoint right till the end, right? The end-to-end journey. And in most of the transformation programs that I've been part of, generally people tend to miss that end-to-end design philosophy, and departments work in silos. So the ways of working need to be established right upfront, and then start working involving the right stakeholders and develop that. And the proof of pudding is in eating it. So essentially, I'm currently working on a prototype, a proof of value to create that kind of an omni channel digital experience in the telco sector. Over to you, Satyamar.
All right. So, am I still audible? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So one of the industry that is kind of fascinating for me, and a lot of research and focus that I'm spending my time on is the travel tech industry. It's kind of ripe for innovation when it comes to data application of AI. A lot is happening in the field. Post COVID, the industry is going significantly, growing at a very high rate, and travel is essentially an experience, not only at the touch point when the decision of the travel is made, but there's a pre effect, there's a post effect of travel as well, where the experience of choosing a travel curating or get it curated from some agencies or some third party, and at the same time the experience that one picks up through the travel also is very important, because one is a customer is looking for memory, right? So a lot of things happening is going to happen in this space with the advent of large language models and generative AI, where the curation of the travel is already happening. There are many startups who are already doing that, but how to hyper contextualize it, how to hyper personalize it to address the throughput of the industry, and also increase the repeatability, loyalty, and the purchase rate on a third party perspective for a do it for you model, right? There's two models which are prevalent today: do it yourself and do it for you model, and both of them are kind of rife for intervention using data analytics and of course for the generative AI. All right, so I guess I was the last. So back to you,
Rahul,
Ganga.
has Rahul spoken?
Yeah. So I
Sorry.
can.
Yeah.
No worries. Yeah. So I can go next. I think one of the other interesting areas where the use of AI applications is coming up and is exciting is orchestrating the outcomes. I think a couple of folks in the forum talked about orchestrating customer journeys, handholding, uh, uh, and moving customer journeys in the intended direction. So orchestrating customer journeys through hyper personalization and through solutions, AI solutions that can read into or synthesize tons and tons of data and personalize actions for a given customer. I think that's one area which is exciting and that's coming up. Is
Great.
anyone else?
Yeah, so just I want to add my 2 cents. A lot of marketing in our D2C space is today driven by social media. So attribution is a key thing which we are looking at, while the brand marketing is moving into social media marketing, and influencing is a key thing. While it generates the likes, engagements, and effectiveness of a social media campaign, how does it result into revenue is the key thing. It's a very evolving field right now. What is influenced versus what is organic is very blurry, and how it results into dollars and how do you quantify the ROI. Use of a lot of micro influencers is the key. and definitely want to use the buzzword called generative AI is something which we will experiment, and I'm sure everyone will experiment. It's a hype versus reality. We don't know. We will all try as the next few months go through. Back to you, Ganga.
Thank you. That was fantastic. Saurabh, thank you.
I think we
I
didn't
think
hear
the
from Tarun.
reason nobody's.
Did we hear from Tarun? I think Tarun.
Hey, can you hear me? He did. He
Yeah,
did. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There is no
I'll just add
escaping it.
maybe
I know, but
on the second question, I'll just add my thoughts, right? So two things we're doing, right? One is, so as I said, customer data is at the foundation, right? So we are building a lot of, we see value in coming up with that complete data fabric fingerprint, right, for each industry and domain. That includes internal, external data partnerships, and what is that data thumbprint for the entire customer journey, right? That's one thing we are building. Second thing I see a lot of value in, that is our philosophy as well, is, being a services company, is bringing those AI Lego blocks. As and when we implement use cases across clients, right? We keep packaging that IP so that, the value to the client is upfront. And, we don't learn at the, there's 40 to 50% acceleration to the value. So just wanted to add, thanks, Ganga and Anirban, for calling that out.
One parting thought I cannot,
perfect.
stop myself. Sorry, yeah, just take 60 seconds I shall take. And that is to echo sort of about the attribution modeling part. What we are doing something very interesting these days is called network analysis. So traditional, marketing mix model is something very common, right? There are multiple channels and its impact on the sales. But what we are doing is that once that is done, so that equation is built, then we take each of the channels, say for example, Facebook, and then how the other channels are contributing to that one. So funnel level mapping. And then finally, we deduct the impact of each of the channels from the initial equation. So that way we can get the raw impact. So that's a pretty complex. I tried to sum it up in 3 steps, but that's the way out we figured out for the right attribution modeling. Otherwise,
Thank
this
you, Dr.
Yeah.
Rohit, for adding that.
So I'll tell you the
Then
hidden agenda behind doing this panel. We and Ganga and Shinjini were discussing what should be the roadmap. And we finally came down, let's do a roundtable. We will get 10 sessions. So we have got a session on attribution. We have got a session on marketing. And we have got session on omni-channel. So we have got a lot of sessions which we can do together as a team. And we'll look forward for all of you to participate in it.
thank you so much for spending time with us. And we definitely look forward to connecting with each one of you again. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank
Have a
you.
nice
Thank you.
evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.